Good morning, everyone, and happy May 4th and day 4 of the book giveaway for Intelligent Digital Ecosystems. Thanks for coming along on the adventure with me, and I missed yesterday, so I thought I'd make it up by reading a chapter today, and it's, again, one of my favorites from part 3. It's the penultimate chapter 29, Life After Tech. 100 years from now, the technologies we have today and the way we think about human-digital interaction will seem quaint. This is not to say we will all be cyborgs and flying cars living on the moon or any other pop science fiction trope, merely that the boundaries of our technology will have shifted, expanded, to allow for new and unprecedented methods to emerge and to be adopted. Advances in communication speed and the ongoing miniaturization of technologies will birth new domains, and new creations will emerge. The quality of our experiences will increase. More pixels, more frames, more sensors. However, many of the foundational elements of life will remain the same. People will seek to communicate and interact with those around them. We will continue to value knowledge, history, and our cultures, so recorded experiences will persist. We will create and tell stories as abstractions to share who we are as individuals and as a group. We will value novelty and admire those people who bring creative genius to address pressing problems. We will, with some grace, value the importance of opinion and individuality without simultaneously destroying the institutions which make such things possible. We will be taken with fresh ideas while preserving ourselves and our societies with the fundamental lessons and methods we've tested and applied for millennia. And we will look to history, this current time, to understand the patterns of the past. Indeed, the data we create today and the completeness with which we capture our story will be essential to navigate that future. Generations of data will provide the ability to read and influence the cycles of nature with clarity and insights unavailable today. The observations of tomorrow will be powered by the clarity and insight we gain into ourselves and our changing world and society. The digital ecosystem will enable this powerful understanding. It is truly a new kind of artifact. It provides the first deep autobiographical insight into how we think, a snapshot into the workings of our brains and our subjective biases. It identifies not just what we did, but how we felt and thought while we did it. It captures the malleability of our interests and perspectives. It reveals how we think, act, and importantly, how those actions drive new thoughts. Indeed, thoughts flow from actions as much or more than the reverse. We have never had such an accurate method of capturing and modeling how individual humans think of any era, how we process information, and how we choose to act. An ecosystem's lasting value as a functioning and animated snapshot of our mind, a testament to our individuality, becomes an immensely valuable record. Such an artifact will open up a new era of understanding into humanity and history. The period before the ecosystem will be like the time before the photograph or the phonorecord, the book or indeed the written word. Before such emergence was a dark age closed to deep introspection. People and events were captured through interpretive means, painting, writing, and artistic expression, but objective reality was lost. The faces and voices of people from before the past 200 years have been swallowed up by time. Before optics, chemistry, and the electronic sensors allowed us to capture, represent, and preserve objective reality, people remained abstract characters, names and actions open to speculation by historians. We only have our contemporary interpretation of the architectural record to understand the time before writing. We apply our modern projections of meaning to parse scraps of myth and oral history, the real names and places of people and the meanings of things lost to imagination and legend. The few fragments we do retain, whether carried forward through cultures or preserved in museums, play an outsized role in defining the nature of our current lives. They form a significant basis for our secular and religious identity. Yet these silent artifacts do not provide a window into the thoughts and personalities of those who came before. The emergence and the adoption of digital ecosystems will write the next great record about who we are and were. If we could understand how a historical figure thought and felt, what they liked and how they learned, perhaps we could leverage such insights and wisdom into the present. We could emulate what worked internally in the conduct of their lives as well as externally in the outcomes of their actions. It is impossible to predict the impact that such deep insights would have on society. However, history shows that when we increase our knowledge of history, when we enhance the clarity of our understanding and can share insights across generations, we flourish. If we can make it that far. Of critical importance, we need to look beyond the potential narcissistic mirror of technology back into reality. These offerings could become a dangerous trap. We know that our devices are addictive. Neuroscience is confirming with ever greater insight the games we are playing with our brains in the self-administered dopamine surges which come from constant consumptive scrolling. We are beginning to understand and observe such effects in both individuals and the broader society. We are dangerously consumed. Like true addicts, we are always thinking about our next fix. The more tech we have, the more we will use. No sooner does the next phase of technology reach us, PCs, gaming consoles, music players, the internet, social media, smartphones, smartwatches, smart TVs, smart speakers, then we adopt it as well. While things get faster and smaller, little gets displaced. We continue to add. Every niche of our lives becomes an opportunity to slip into a little more tech. Every idle moment becomes colonized until there is nearly nothing you can do, including sleep, where technology does not play a role. It is a wonder we have any appetite for technology left, yet still the machine grows. You know it is an addiction when we say to ourselves, just a little more tech and we will finally be free of it. It's like a gambler who is confident that the next hand of poker will recoup his earnings, validate his struggles, and then he will somehow be able to walk away from it. We've gone pretty far down the digital rabbit hole in this book, so far that we've come out the other side into a whole new world, a universe of our own conception, a literal world of technology. Is there a chance we can break free of this tech and return to the real world? Or do we risk becoming lost in this endless domain of potential? We live a divided life now, the imaginary digital world now as real as the physical reality of our bodies. If you happen to live in the parts of the world with the greatest concentrations of wealth, all the struggles, opportunities, money, and success resides on the digital side of that divide. There is no social success without immersing ourselves in that world. We are throwing more of our lives into that domain to the exclusion of the physical, and the stakes are high. Failure in the digital domain has the same consequences as failure in the physical. And yet you only exist in that physical world. You have a physical body and a real mind. Everything of true beauty and value, from the food you eat to the touch of a family member, the laugh of a friend, the deep inhale of fresh air, the clouds above and the dirt below exist here. Every meaningful moment of life happened on this side of the divide. It is here you felt the most exhilarated, have been moved, have been seen, and been your most vulnerable and honest. A day in the digital world does not match a minute in the real in quality. The digital is draining, the real replenishing. Just compare how you feel after spending a day in nature and a day in front of your screen. You are filled by the real world around you, buoyed and lifted by your experiences. Your muscles may be tired after a day of physical labors, but your mind is content and you feel your best. After a day in the digital, you are drained, exhausted in mind, unwell in body, short in temper, and your worst self. This reality is self-evident, and the enormity of the difference begs the question why anyone would spend a moment more in the digital side of things. We are a sick people who are becoming increasingly ill with each step down the path of digital. How can we pierce through the screens, literal and figurative, that we've created between ourselves and our reality? Is there a rock bottom we technology addicts must hit before we recognize we need help? The will to change can only come from within, and the journey down can be painful, destructive. Yet there is a way forward, a state where we can transcend our fixation on the digital and return to the real. As we stop thinking about it as it, and thinking about it merely as us, our expanded and our extended minds, we can imagine a life after technology. We must pursue a state of existence where we can leave the trappings of technology behind, drop the blinders between ourselves and the physical world, and stay grounded in the present. Redefining our relationship with nature and technology means raising our eyes from the screens and establishing a new narrative for our species. We must build a vision for ourselves as partners of a system, one corner of a triangle of human microbiome technology structure which is not superior or subordinate to its partners. The future does not reside in our screens, our VR goggles, or inside some consumer digital metaverse. The future is harmonizing these elements into an integrated life. In this partnership, we must pursue a state of coexistence where technology becomes another subconscious mind, a polycognitive extension which works in parallel with us. We are setting the conditions for success and leaving the computer to do the work. We are free to return to reality and confident in the knowledge that we are not avoiding our responsibilities in the digital world because our extended mind is operating there. Thus, we set a balance, a harmonious cycle of interactions where we step in and step out of this space, alternating waves of presence and absence. Once again, the garden is a perfect model for this relationship with technology. We prep the bed, plant the seeds, do a little weeding and some watering, and let it grow. There is work in setting the conditions for success, but it is those beautiful vegetable and fruit plants which are doing the real work. We are building calories from solar radiation, fixing carbon, sharing nutrients. They are building. We support the garden's cycles, rotate the crops, foster the health of the soil, and it sustains us. We grow the garden with the knowledge and confidence that it will feed our families for generations. Learning to grow with and through technology makes work a lifelong pursuit, one which never ceases but is simultaneously a pleasurable partnership instead of an isolating irritant. This harmony will require us to make other changes as well. The industrial work hours of 8 to 5 must be abolished. The prime hours of our days are spent in front of screens performing tasks fit for a computer. Just as our minds never cease processing, even and especially in periods of deep rest, our microbiome never ceases to work synergistically with our biological cycles. Our digital ecosystem achieves a state of positive feedback which enhances our experience of the real world. Common conceptions of work and compensation need to be abandoned and new systems and jobs designed which maximize for intelligence and creativity. Physical and mental work must find their balance, just as physical and mental work complement each other to create rewarding experiences and vocations. What do we do when freed from our screens to rethink our days? We need to rediscover our bodies and regain our strength. We have beautiful bodies. We must use and feel the deep and quiet satisfaction of the tiredness in our muscles after a long day's effort. We need to shake hands and hug our friends and neighbors. We have a beautiful world. There is work to do to protect it from unintelligent actions. Freed from the servitude of the machine world, we can live while we still have a life. The only true intelligence is a sustainable one which sees and fosters cycles of renewal over a long period. If we cannot find a sustainable balance, our physical world will die. which will cause our digital and imaginary worlds to also die. Valuing the digital space means that we must first find the physical world that sustains it. If we try to simply build up the digital world, we will destroy our ecologies. The intelligence we gain will be short-lived and sorely missed when the enabling systems collapse. If we ignore our digital world, we miss out on the potential to do truly tremendous things as a species, to take the next steps forward in collaboration, to go to the stars, to solve the deep mysteries of physics and nature. Caring for the planet can become the other half of our work. We can apply the lessons we learned about our ecosystems, microbial or microprocessor-driven, on either side of the divide. When we are in our digital, we are learning to build ecosystems. When we are in our physical, we are applying that learning to sustain our natural cycles. We can observe what a healthy ecosystem looks like and emulate the complexity and symbiosis back to the digital. Thus, we pursue harmonious balance, the preservation of cycles which loop back and forth between the physical and digital worlds, continually informing and enhancing reality in both places. Synchronizing these two worlds is a pretty stiff challenge when you think of it. Creating those sustainable cycles of self-improvement may just be the ladder which elevates us all. Life after technology, technology after life, two parallel strands wrapped around each other, bridging and tied together intrinsically, the DNA of a new world. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know if you have any parts of the book that you especially like, or if it sparks any ideas with you. And by all means possible, get out in nature and enjoy your day.